Picture this. You tell your family you can't make it to dinner this Sunday. Not sick, not busy. You just don't want to go. The room goes silent, eyes narrow. Someone calls you selfish. Someone else says you've changed, as though you've committed a crime. You simply chose yourself for one evening. But the reaction is so big, you'd think you broke a sacred rule. If you've ever been labeled difficult for setting boundaries or felt that familiar tightness in your chest when someone reacted badly to something trivial, this video is your mirror. What I'm about to share will shift how you see every relationship in your life. There's a silent game of power at work, driven by dark psychology. And you've been losing that game without even realizing it. The twist? History's cunning minds, Carl Jung, Niccolò Machiavelli, and others, discovered the rules centuries ago. They mapped the path to liberation. So subscribe now. Once you glimpse this, you'll never unsee it. Meet Sarah, the sweetest person you know. She's always saying yes, doing favors, comforting others, caring for everyone, never complaining, always giving. She defines good. Then Sarah signs up for a pottery class, just one evening to herself. Her family erupts. They call it selfish. They say she's changed. The guilt almost makes her quit. But the pottery isn't the issue. It's about control. They need Sarah boxed in as the nice one who never says no. Jung taught us about the persona, the mask we wear to satisfy others. The more you wear it, the more you lose your real self. Machiavelli warned, if you're always nice, you're weak. In his view, nice people make easy targets, used, controlled, and eventually lost in service of others. Starting to see yourself here? Hit subscribe. We're diving deeper. Jung also introduced the concept of the shadow, the parts of ourselves we've labeled unacceptable, our anger, our solitude, our desire to say no, to put ourselves first. Shame hides them. But that darkness doesn't disappear. Instead, others weaponize it. They shame you for normal feelings, wanting time alone, saying no, being human. They point that special camera lens at your vulnerability and weaponize it. But Jung emphasized, the shadow isn't evil, it's human, and hiding it hands others the power to manipulate you. Machiavelli knew this too. In The Prince, he outlines how guilt and shame become tools for manipulation. Nice people, who hide their shadows, end up the most controlled. Think about it. Who gets demonized for setting boundaries? The person who always says no unchallenged, or the one who refuses just once. The nice person is punished harder because their compliance was useful. This is the shadow game, and you've been trapped unknowingly. Has someone else set boundaries with zero backlash, but you get pinpointed for a single refusal? That's not coincidence. That's a strategy. It's power. It's manipulation. It's Machiavelli's silent game. If this resonates, comment, I see the shadow game. Recognition is the first step. Donald Winnicott identified a tragedy. Most people live through a fake self, a version of themselves styled to please. Meanwhile, their true self stays locked away. The fake self comforts others. The real self threatens them. After all, they've come to rely on that safe, silent version of you. But living a fake life doesn't just hurt other people. It wears you out. You feel empty, angry, disconnected. And the worst part? The world rewards that fake persona. Melanie Klein traced this to childhood. We learn to suppress real feelings to win approval. We split ourselves, one self that fits in and one we hide. Yet there's hope. You can reintegrate. But it means disappointing people accustomed to your false self. Carl Jung put it plainly, becoming yourself means disappointing others. And those upset by that shift, those who enjoyed your complacence, they weren't really with you anyway. Real love doesn't crave perfection. Real love doesn't punish humanity. Machiavelli was a master manipulator, an analyst. He knew manipulation often masquerades as love or care. Let's decode the difference. What love sounds like. I'm disappointed, but I respect your choice. What control sounds like. If you loved me, you wouldn't do this. Love says, I miss spending time with you. Control says, you've changed and not for the better. Love says, hope you're taking care of yourself. Control says you're being selfish. See it? Love respects your freedom. Control punishes your agency. The manipulators know your good heart is also your vulnerability. They push guilt like a remote control button and watch you come running back. But here's the secret. Guilt only works if you allow it. Jung called it individuation, the process of becoming who you are, rather than what others want. Not everyone welcomes that. Some base their relationship with you on your submission. When you step toward freedom, they'll react with anger, shame, punishment, because they've built comfort around your compliance. Here's your internal detector flashing red. If someone resents your humanity, they don't respect your freedom. If they call your boundaries selfish, they see you as a tool, not a person. Trust that signal. It's protecting you. If you're ready to tune into your own wisdom, hit subscribe. The permission you've been waiting for. Here's the truth nobody tells you. You don't need permission to be yourself. You don't need approval to set boundaries. You don't owe explanations for saying no. But society conditions us otherwise, to self-sacrifice, prioritize others, keep quiet, even when it hurts us. So here's your official permission slip. You have the right to disappoint people who prefer your smallness. Your freedom isn't selfish, it's essential. You were not born to be other people's emotional crutch. You're not obligated to mend what others refuse to face themselves. You can say no. No explanations needed. You can evolve. Your choice of who you become may leave some behind. You deserve self-care, even if it's inconvenient for others. You have the right to be human, even if others insist you be perfect. You can walk away from roles that reduce you to convenience. True love doesn't demand perfection. True relationships honor your humanity. Jung said, being true means disappointing some. That's not a flaw, it's evidence. Those pissed by your realness weren't supporting you. They were using you. Machiavelli said, politely nice people get exploited. He noticed that self-respect commands respect more than cheap kindness. Yes, it's scary. Yes, it contradicts what you've been taught. Some voices in your head will scream, selfish. You're a monster. Those voices aren't yours. They're echoes of someone else's benefit, someone who profited from your surrender. You're not responsible for managing others' feelings. You don't need to dim your light to make theirs shine. You don't owe anyone your emotional labor. Your guilt isn't yours to own. It was handed to you, and it's time to give it back. Comment I choose myself if you're ready to take your power back. This isn't a pep talk. It's a declaration of your right to exist fully. The darkest power lies in knowing yourself and defending that truth. So subscribe, ring the bell, and prepare. The next part of this journey is coming, where we'll unpack how to reclaim your shadow, rejoin your true self, and build relationships that honor your boundaries. You're not broken, you're becoming free. Comment below, I see the shadow game. Then again, I choose myself. And that's power they don't want you to know. The science behind the guilt. Let me tell you something that will shift how you see guilt forever. It's not about morality, it's about programming. You were conditioned as a child to link love with obedience. You learned that being good earned attention and having needs earned silence. You were taught, without words, that others' comfort mattered more than your truth. Your brain formed an emotional blueprint. It told you, disappointing others is dangerous. Saying no means rejection. Having boundaries means you're bad. But this blueprint is faulty. Psychologists like Melanie Klein and Donald Winnicott discovered that early emotional maps were based on survival, not truth. You weren't taught real love. You were taught conditional love. Love that depended on being easy to manage. Real love doesn't vanish when you say no. It doesn't punish you for being honest. Real love holds steady when you're real. But your old programming doesn't know that. So every time you try to speak your truth, guilt floods your system. Not because you're wrong, but because your blueprint screams danger. Here's the truth. You didn't choose this blueprint. It was installed before you had the awareness to resist it. But blueprints can be changed. Carl Jung called this individuation, becoming who you truly are instead of who you were trained to be. It's uncomfortable because it goes against everything you were taught. But on the other side of individuation is freedom, the freedom to be authentic, to build relationships based on truth, to live a life that's yours, not the one others plan for you. This is deep psychological work, emotional surgery. It's removing guilt that isn't yours. It's reclaiming your right to say no. And yes, it will hurt before it heals. People who benefited from the old you will resist. They'll try to reinstall the guilt. They'll say you've changed because you have. But you have the right to upgrade. You have the authority to decide how your life feels. Niccolò Machiavelli understood something people rarely admit. In relationships, you're either in power or someone else's. That doesn't mean you need to be harsh. It means you need to be strategic. People will test your boundaries. They'll challenge your no to see if it bends. They'll use guilt to see if it still works on you. But here's the Machiavelli method. You don't explain. You don't justify. You don't defend. When someone calls you selfish, say, I can see you're upset. I'm still not changing my mind. When someone tries to guilt you, say, I understand you're disappointed. My answer is still no. When they say, you've changed, say yes. I've learned to choose myself. This is strategic emotional leadership. You're not fighting. You're not convincing. You're enforcing. Because people who respect boundaries will accept your no. People who don't will try to wear you down. So stop taking the bait. Stop explaining yourself. Stop making their comfort more important than your freedom. Jung called this shadow work. It's the part of you that's allowed to disappoint others. It's the you that's allowed to take up space. This isn't about becoming cold. It's about becoming whole. Not about hurting people, but about stopping them from hurting you. Real love adapts. It may resist your growth at first, but it will adjust. Fake love will punish you for becoming strong. It will try to make you choose between truth and approval. Always choose truth. Always choose freedom. Jung and Machiavelli both knew something essential. Guilt is not always a moral compass. Sometimes it's just noise. Someone else's voice in your head, trying to shrink you back into their version of who you should be. Here's how you tell the difference. Real guilt comes from harm. I hurt someone. I broke a promise. Fake guilt comes from boundaries. I said no. I honored myself. Real guilt calls you to grow. Fake guilt calls you to shrink. Most people pleasers are haunted by fake guilt, put there by those who preferred you powerless. Here's how to dissolve it. Recognize it. Fake guilt feels heavy, urgent, like you're wrong just for existing. Name it. Remind yourself, this is not mine. It was installed in me. Return it. Visualize giving it back. This guilt belongs to them, not me. Replace it. Speak truth. Boundaries are healthy. Choosing myself isn't selfish. Act on truth. Don't let guilt drive your decisions. Let clarity lead instead. This takes practice, but the more you do it, the quieter the guilt gets, the stronger your truth becomes. Jung called this integration. It's the healing of the split between who you are and who you pretend to be. This isn't selfish. It's survival. It's not mean. It's healthy. Your guilt was programmed. Your truth is real. Trust your truth. Let guilt dissolve and choose freedom. Here's a 4-part framework that brings together everything Jung and Machiavelli taught us. I call it the Freedom Framework. Pillar 1, awareness. You can't change what you can't see. Notice when you say yes but want to say no. Notice the guilt that follows a boundary. Notice when you put others' comfort above your own peace. Pillar 2, acceptance. Once you see the pattern, stop pretending it's not there. Some people will guilt you. Some connections are based on your silence. Accept this, not to give up, but to gain clarity. No more shock, no more confusion, just knowledge. Pillar 3, action insight without action is just therapy. Real change comes through doing. Set boundaries even when you shake. Say no, even when they beg. Choose you, even when they call you selfish. Jung said growth comes through action. Machiavelli said power belongs to those who take it. Pillar 4, adjustment. As you grow, your world will shift. Some relationships will rise to meet the real you. Others will fall away. That's okay. You cannot evolve and expect everything to stay the same. This process is uncomfortable, but it's also real. The Freedom Framework works because it tackles both your internal programming and your external relationships. Skip either side and you stay stuck. But honor all four pillars. You build a life based on you. Comment below. I choose the Freedom Framework if you're ready to live with clarity and courage. Here's the final truth. Jung and Machiavelli both saw it clearly. Real change means loss. And that's not a problem. That's proof. If nobody's uncomfortable with your growth, you probably haven't grown. If nobody pushes back on your boundaries, you probably haven't set any. If no one calls you selfish, you probably haven't chosen yourself yet. Transformation causes tension. Empowerment threatens those who preferred your weakness. Jung said many relationships are built on the false self, and when your true self shows up, those connections fade. Not because someone is bad, but because the foundation wasn't real. Machiavelli knew it too. People who were loyal to your silence may resent your voice. Those who benefited from your guilt may turn against your freedom. This isn't evil, it's expected. It's the cost of authenticity. But Klein showed us something powerful. Letting go is healing. When you release fake love, you create space for real love. And yes, you will lose some people, but you will gain better ones. When you choose authenticity, you attract others who value it. When you stand in truth, you magnetize people who respect boundaries. When you stop performing, you find people who cherish your real self. And those relationships, they won't ask you to shrink. They won't demand explanations. They won't guilt you back into silence. They'll see you and choose you, just like you're finally learning to choose yourself. Part 1, the New Identity Declaration. Word count, approximately 686. As we near the end of this journey together, there's one thing I want you to fully grasp. You are not the same person who started watching this video. You have new information, you've gained new awareness, and most importantly, you now have new permission. You now see the shadow games people play. You recognize manipulation disguised as love. You spot fake guilt when it tries to take root. You know the difference between genuine connection and subtle control. This awareness changes you. This permission frees you. But knowledge without action is just potential. And awareness without choice is just observation. So today I want you to make a declaration. Not to me, but to yourself. A personal vow about who you're choosing to be from this moment forward. Say it with me if it resonates. I am a person who respects myself as much as I respect others. I am a person who has boundaries and maintains them with love. I am a person who says no when no is the honest answer. I am a person who takes care of my needs so I can show up authentically for others. I am a person who chooses relationships based on mutual respect, not convenience. I am a person who values authenticity over approval. I am a person who understands that freedom is not selfish, it's necessary. I am a person who knows that my worth is not determined by my usefulness to others. I am a person who has learned from Jung that becoming myself might mean disappointing others. I am a person who has learned from Machiavelli that being too nice makes me a target. I am a person who no longer apologizes for having a self. I am a person who chooses freedom. This declaration is more than words. It's your new identity. It's a reintroduction to your true self, the version of you that's been buried under people-pleasing, guilt, and silence for too long. Jung taught us that identity is not fixed. We're always becoming. Every choice you make, every boundary you draw, every truth you speak, moves you closer to or further from who you truly are. Your old identity may have been the nice one, the helper, the one who never causes problems, and maybe that kept you safe for a time. But it's too small now, too limiting, too false. Your new identity is the authentic one, the one who tells the truth with compassion, the one who draws boundaries without guilt, the one who values inner peace over external approval, the one who builds real relationships, not performance-based ones. At first, this will feel unfamiliar. That's normal. It's just old programming resisting the upgrade. But your true self, The one underneath the conditioning knows this is home. The more you live from this new identity, the more natural it becomes. The more you practice authenticity, the more aligned you'll feel. The more you set boundaries, the more empowered you become. So now take a moment. Declare your own identity in the comments. Tell us, who are you choosing to be? What truths will you live by? What freedom will you claim? This isn't just a declaration. This is your rebirth. We've come a long way together. You've learned about the shadow games people play, the quiet control, the guilt-laced manipulation, the pressure to shrink. You've discovered the truth behind fake guilt and how to dissolve it. You've seen the difference between love and control, between connection and obligation. You've gained insights from Jung about becoming your authentic self. You've learned from Machiavelli how being too nice can turn you into a target. You've seen through the lens of Klein and Winnicott how childhood wounds can shape adult patterns and how to heal those patterns. But most importantly, you've received something precious: permission. Permission to be human, to have needs, to disappoint those who benefit from your silence, to set boundaries without guilt, to choose yourself without apology. This isn't just theory. This is something you can use today, in your life, with real people, in real situations. The next time someone tries to guilt you into a yes when your heart says no, you'll recognize it. You'll remember what you've learned. You'll respond from strength, not fear. The next time someone says you're selfish for having boundaries, you'll know better. You'll know that's not love, it's control. You'll see through the manipulation and reclaim your space. The next time guilt creeps in when you choose yourself, you'll pause. You'll breathe, and you'll choose truth instead. You now have a framework for freedom, a roadmap to authenticity, tools for the real world. But here's the truth. Information without action is just entertainment. Knowledge without practice is just theory. Permission without implementation is just a concept. So here's your task. Take one small step toward authenticity today. Say one honest number, set one boundary, speak one truth you've been holding back. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be real. Maybe you ask for time alone. Maybe you decline something out of alignment. Maybe you voice a need you've always ignored. Whatever it is, take the step. Feel the fear. Notice the guilt. Remember your declaration and choose authenticity anyway. Then come back here. Comment. Share your experience. Let us celebrate your step forward. If you haven't already, subscribe. This isn't just a channel. This is a community, a movement, a safe place for real humans to reclaim their power. We are the ones who believe freedom isn't selfish. We celebrate your wholeness, not just your usefulness. We don't ask you to shrink. We encourage you to expand. This is more than content. It's a revolution. Your authenticity is needed. Your truth matters. Your choice to be real lights the path for others. So tell us, what boundary will you set this week? How will you choose yourself today? What step will you take toward the life that feels true? And if you know someone stuck in guilt, stuck in shame, stuck in smallness, share this. Let them know they're not alone. Let them hear the truth. Give them the gift of freedom. You are not too much. You are not selfish. You are not wrong for being real. You are free. You are worthy. Now live like it. Subscribe, comment, share, declare your freedom. The revolution of authenticity begins with you.